Becky Gifford. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and creator of thesocialstamper.com. Today I'd like to give you a little tutorial on how to make the pop-up feature that's inside this card. You can see I've cut out the sentiment Boo, that's from September's Paper Pumpkin Kit, that stamp set is, and then cut out some little bats and set up the bats so that they fly off that sentiment, and it gives some really cool 3D effects. So I wanted to show you how to make that. You're gonna need a piece of cardstock that's just shy of 5.5 inches long, maybe like about a 1/16 of an inch shy, so it doesn't hang out of the edges of your card. So about 5.5 inches minus a 1/16 of an inch, and then 3 inches tall. And we're going to score a line down the middle, which is 1.5 inches from either edge, and then cut a line that's 2.5 inches from one side, and then another line that's 2.5 inches from the other side, and score across those two cut marks to make our little pop-up feature. Let me show you how using our Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. The first thing we're gonna need is the light gray blade. That one scores, the darker blade cuts all the way through. I always think to myself that the darker blade cuts deeper, so darker is deeper and it cuts all the way through. The lighter gray blade is just gonna make a score mark. So lift up your arm, measure over at 1.5 inches this way. Get the blade up there, and then swipe, swipe. That'll make a good little crease mark there in your paper. And then we're gonna turn it 90 degrees and move over to 2.5 inches. And now I'm gonna get that scoring blade out of the way really quick, and we're gonna be working with this dark gray cutting blade. And here's the trick. While the arm is lifted slightly, you're gonna move this scoring blade down to 2.5 inches, or I guess up to 2.5 inches depending on where your blade is. So you see this little ruler along the arm, you're gonna just move it to 2.5 inches. Oops. Keep that paper at 2.5 inches as well. But with your trimmer blade at 2.5 inches, you're gonna lower the arm and press down and move the blade down and stop at cutting at 1/2 inch. You don't wanna cut all the way through the cardstock. It's okay if you're a little bit off. We're gonna fix any little errors with our next step here. But then again, turn it and then measure over 2.5 inches. Get our scoring blade set up at 2.5 inches with the arm slightly lifted. Lower the arm, press down to puncture the paper, and then slide down to 2.5 inches. There we go. It's getting a little bit caught up there because I bent the cardstock when I was showing you the scored marks, so you might not want to bend that scored mark quite as early as I did there. This next step, we're going to just correct any little discrepancies between where we started and stopped cutting. It's no big deal if you have a little bit of a separation there. But you can see the cut marks in this little gutter. There we go. So you can just make sure that one of them is centered, and then we're gonna score across those two lines and turn it, and we're gonna do the same thing to score across those two lines. There you go. And the score mark can extend past those cut marks a little bit. That's not a big deal. You're barely gonna be able to see those score marks once we're all finished here. But we're gonna fold this. You can even use a bone folder. I get kind of heebie-jeebies from running my nails across my cardstock, so I always like to use a bone folder to make my creases in my cardstock. And then I'm gonna use my finger to just push out that little pop-up feature and fold and pinch. And then there you go, you have that little pop-up part. If you did what I did and you folded it and you have these little nubbies of paper, you can trim those off using some paper snips. It's not really a big deal. I always tell people with paper crafting, it's great because any mistakes you make, it's only paper. So if it's so bad that you just can't work with it, then feel free to start over. But in general, paper crafting is really forgiving and it's easy to correct little mistakes or just kind of run with it. So anyways, that's how you make the pop-up feature. And then again, here's my finished project, one of two that's on my blog, thesocialstamper.com. 2 projects that I feature that have this cool little pop-up feature on the inside. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great time stamping and using this pop-up card tutorial.